Okay, it's looking like it's going to be a fantastic morning. Already up, half hour late. Sorry about that, guys. Alarm did not go off. So let's get right down to this here. Take a look at how the markets are doing. Close out of the stuff that doesn't need to be open here. Okay, so hopefully that's better and that gets rid of the fan and we're ready to roll. Let's see about some tunes as we head in. All right, so where are we at? Looks like we're going to see a continued decline. Yesterday ended on the downslope, and it looks like we're continuing that pre-market. Oh, man. News of the mRNA vaccine not working, which isn't a shock to me, but the market took it as a shock. Seems to have driven everything down. So, communications is the strongest happening right now. Oils, mixed bag overseas. Nothing. I mean, India and Mexico aren't doing hot, but the rest of the world seems to be doing okay. Just checking right now for some articles here. Okay, nothing in acquisitions. Okay. There's some big pharma news today. Okay, so I'll clear that up. I really wish that you guys could see this extension that's right here, but you can't. All you guys see is a page, right? FDA. No extentio. Yeah. I know you meant to put an N on the end of that, but it just sounds way classier when it's no extentio. Let's see what else here. Nothing there. All right, that's a decent start, at least. Went through 300 potential articles, so let's go. Sorrento is a big loser. Open the dashboard here. Get rid of the stuff that I don't want on here. FDA breakthrough designation for the ablation system to treat ventricular tachycardia. All right, so this is fun because usually I'm dealing with cancer drugs, but this is giving me the ability to learn something new. I'm not familiar with ablation therapy. Ablation therapy is a minimally invasive treatment option that is used to destroy tumors and other abnormal tissues in the body. The procedure can use either freezing cold liquids or very hot liquids. Hmm. Okay, so it's risky. Interesting. So this procedure, what it does is it uses your body heat instead of an artificial heat, which lowers risk of infection, which is a primary issue with ablation therapy. Very cool. Okay, so let's see what the stock looks like. Now, this stock may not even be publicly traded, guys, but to do just that quick due diligence to better understand, yeah, it's not publicly traded, but at least to do that quick study of what is this, why is it approved, and why is that a big deal, that's important to know, because down the road, you never know, you may see ablation therapy come up again, and now you know what it is, right? So just acquire that knowledge when you're doing your due diligence. It doesn't matter, you go down a bit of a rabbit hole, that's why we get up early like this to do this. Thoughts on KTOB? That one keeps coming up. Okay. Oh, it's Mr. McJ. It's always the same guy. What's up, Mr. McJ? Okay, so let's check the news on KTOB. This I don't like. They just did a direct offering not long ago. Past 24 hours. Sorry, I'm just reading the morning. I'm just reading the medicalese on this one. No, no, no. So I would rather that you ask than not. How dumb would I feel if you thought that you saw something in the biosector, you brought it up, and I didn't look at it, and then bam, to the moon, took off, right? This is not a. There's nothing till the cancer conference. That's not what this is. Uh, So this is kind of a big deal because, and it's tucked in right at the end of the article here, guys. But this is important when you're looking at these small companies, okay, that have a single drug candidate, or maybe they've got really thin pipeline. What you want to be looking for is, okay, well, who are they tying their cart to? Is it just them themselves? They're going through this FDA process, and this one is quite clear. Their therapy works in combination with a drug that's already on the market, and this drug, uh, cetuximab, is produced by Eli Lilly and Merck, which is huge. That's fantastic. That shows me that there's some real credibility to what's going on here on top of their medical study, right? Um, so they had a 5 out of 6 success rate on this phase 1 trial. Well, phase 1A, I guess. Um, it's a big deal. Okay, so let's take a look at the chart. Koifin's feeling a little goofy today. Down 1%, but it's up over the close? What? Alright, let's go to the month. 35 to 64. This looks like it's loading up. Yeah, this looks like it's loading up. Like this is increasing volume, especially Monday. It kept its gains by large. I think I like this. I'm gonna put it on the list. I think I like it. I just want to be sure which conference it said that they were presenting at. When is this meeting? So this is end of June. So you have to be aware. No, 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 no. That's a different one. Yeah. So there is a major conference, but it's the American one. So the American Society of Clinical Oncology is at the end of May. Um, yeah, it's at the end of May. So this one that they're presenting at is the American Association for Cancer Research virtual annual meeting. Yeah, okay, so I mean, there's got to be a bazillion out there. The ASCO is a big beast. It's a huge one, which is why I'm in my marker position still, um, which I guess I should have up here. But yeah, this is still good. Like this that they're presenting is good. That you got a date on that. Yeah, I think that this is good. I think at most I would look for somewhere around the 20%, 25% gain on this. I wouldn't hold this one to try to double up on it because it's only an announcement of phase one, phase two. So I'd probably let this fall a little bit and then come back to it, to be honest. I think it probably will see a decline a little bit from where it is. Now, I'll keep my eyes on it, but if it starts to make a move towards 60 with no sign of an immediate fallout, that may be something different. But I do like KTOP. I do. That looks good. Again, guys, anybody watching, this is not financial advice. I am not qualified to do so. SEC ruling will be in the description afterwards on this, but this is opinion. I give you guys my opinion. I'm a day trader. I'm in the market. I trade long equity, especially in the biopharmaceutical sector, but I am not in any way a financial advisor, and you should not be taking financial advice from me. What we're doing here is just opinion and research. Anything that you hear on the show is opinion based. Now that that's done, okay, consensi. Fixed dose combination, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug for the treatment of pain caused by osteoarthritis. So arthritis drug. Yikes, dude. Look at that. Yikes. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad to hear. Um, yeah, and I mean, this is exactly what I want more people to see. Is if you are new to trading, this is the work. This is the work that you have to put in. It's not just sitting here all day looking at graphs and going, "Oh, it's going up, it's going down, bye bye bye, sell sell sell." There is that is a approach, but there is another approach, and that's to take your time, do the homework, know your play, know your entry, know your exit. And I think there's a lot more success in something like that than there is in buy 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 sell sell sell. If you look at the guys that have been in the game forever, the Warren Buffetts out there, they are not people that are just buying for the sake of a knee jerk reaction on a tick because they are playing 10, 20 years out. Yeah, I don't see this. This seems like a non-starter for me with Consensi. All right. FDA approves Lymparza for certain pretreated yada yada yada. Cancer is big money. So who makes Lymparza? Who makes Lynparza? AstraZeneca? I don't need to do more deep diving into AstraZeneca, and that's on the basis of they get an approval from the FDA because they've got so many freaking drugs on the market. So if they've got a drug that's already been approved that they're giving a new designation, that's just a given. Like, yep, that's gonna go. This one is privately held, so can't do anything on that. Okay, so Tecentriq is nothing for us because it's Roche. They are a pink sheet. They are not publicly traded. Okay, so I mean, here's where you gotta read between the lines a little bit. So Monday we had an announcement that there's new drugs in the pipeline. We're seeing announcements of drugs like MBRX, SRNE's drug, um, Berlacidin, so IPIX. We're seeing announcements from these guys that we are seeing phenomenal successful result in and around the 85 plus percentile. So 85 to 100% is what we're seeing on these trials that are coming out. So what Trump wants to do is Trump wants to be America first. And I mean, as the American president, I would expect him to do that. So I'm not shocked. But here's the thing: what you want to do when you've got a drug like this coming out is you want to control the supply chain, because if the supply chain is overseas and you want to create the vaccine there, you've lost almost entirely all control that you have over the vaccine, because as soon as it's there, it's going to leak out and they're going to make millions of generic pills and just give it to everybody. And that sounds fantastic, but the reality is I think Trump is looking at this from a more, we've spent a lot of money in supporting this and we want to try to get some of that back. So what he's done is tried to move distribution stateside. Now he has to select a single candidate. I don't think that this flow company is going to be able to produce all of the potential candidates, but definitely at least one. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how this plays out over the next little bit. Surprisingly, the market doesn't care about this. He needs to come out with the announcement that follows this of this is the drug. And it's not going to be mRNA. Which is what, if you've been watching the show, I've been saying for weeks that I don't like mRNA. I don't think they're going to be there. If you're part of Stock Guys community, you know that I have been against mRNA for almost the entire time that they've been hyped up. The use and application of their drug just didn't make sense. The medical studies that they had didn't make sense, and now we're here, and other people are looking at it going, your medical studies don't make sense. You're not reporting correctly. The data has been skewed. And that would have shown through in a huge way at the end of phase 2 trials. So that they're starting to do public offerings is a sign that they know. No, I don't. I So as of this moment, I don't believe them at all. And the reason why is this: if you are a biopharmaceutical company, you know before you go to market with any results whatsoever, you must have peer review, verification, and publicly released medical studies. The reason why you do that is to add validity to your press release. You don't just come to the press and say, "Look what I did in a lab by myself somewhere, sometime." I have all the records, I swear. It's not enough. It leaves it little to no authenticity. So the big issue is, so let's say they had 1,000 petri dishes, right? And they hit 1,000 petri dishes with their medication, and in one of them, COVID dissipated by 100%. Well, all we know right now is that they had a single petri dish that COVID was gone by 100%, but it could have been one out of 1,000. And we've got there's no peer review, there's no medical study, there's no exact numbers or concise data, which is a huge red flag. I cannot believe that the SEC has allowed them to continue trading, because clearly it's fraudulent. That you wouldn't do that. It's a standard procedure that before you release an announcement like that, you at least go get a peer review. And a public release of the medical report would make sense as well. So, I mean, yeah. Yep. That's big. European approval and the FDA all at once? Yes, please. I like that. CSTO. So they haven't even filed. SRNE hasn't even filed, and you don't have to say sorry. Good morning, Levi. The SRNE hasn't even filed with the FDA. They haven't filed an application for initial consideration on the drug, let alone a phase 1 trial. They've got no experiments showing the effectiveness of this drug outside of a single petri dish, and that's just not right. So until I see the medical study and the data out of SRNE, or I see a peer review that corroborates their story, I'm gonna say fraudulent. Now, a lot of people say, well, you're in MBRX because they said they had 100%. That's true, but MBRX has 3 peer-reviewed medical studies that got months of data on what their drug does. They had 2 recent studies out of a university in Germany that approves that the drug does what they say it does. So they've got the medical and social backing to actually, follow through on this. And that's a big difference. It's a huge difference. They've also already applied to the FDA, so they have that. That's what we're waiting on. This is why I'm so baffled by this extended halt from the SEC. They've done it right every step of the way, never pushing it too far and always just claiming, here is the medical report, or here's the press release that's stating this is what's in this medical report, do with it as you will. I'm very intrigued. I'd love to be a fly on the wall hearing the politics of why a stock like SRNE is free to trade, but MBRX is in seeming limbo. We don't know. All we know is that the after the H10 halt, the SEC didn't want to delist them, but they wanted additional information before they could resume trading. Now that's happening. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. My water is empty, guys. I'm going to go grab some H2O. I will be right back. 60 seconds. If you have stocks you want me to take a look at, guys, let's do that. Just drop the stocks in chat, and when I get back, I will take a look and break them down. All right. All right. I'm just clearing out a massive pool. Let's see here what we've got. What are your thoughts on psychedelics for therapy purposes? Med and shroom. Um, okay, so I've seen some data on mushrooms being used as a therapeutic. The problem with that is there's an extremely high risk rate of you having an allergic reaction to mushrooms. It's a fungus. You always have to be super careful when you're using any kind of fungus or growth like that in medication. Um, so med.to isn't coming up. Hold on. Yeah, it's not the trip that I'm worried about. It's an actual physical allergic reaction to the medication. That's my big concern. So they're called mind medicine. I think this is them here. MMEDF. So oh, LSD. Okay. So yeah, when you say psychedelics, I immediately assume that nobody would go to LSD. The issue with LSD is it is a spring-loaded cocktail of doom. Um, the military tried application of LSD for shock shell therapy through the 70s and 80s. It had disastrous results. I do not see in any way how the FDA would ever approve something of this nature. And same thing with Health Canada. The second you show up to an FDA panel or a Health Canada panel and you say this is fantastic, yeah, there's the mushrooms article for sure. So mushrooms I've heard about for sure. Hmm. Okay, so here's some big alarms that you would see. So this is mushrooms. This is not psychedelic drugs like LSD. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna break this whole down because I'm taking this in bits and pieces. Um, yeah, so pot's not technically legal yet in the States, so they're still working on that. This is scary when they're citing as a medical source Gwyneth Paltrow. Um, last I checked, Gwyneth Paltrow wasn't a PhD. Maybe she is. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Gwyneth Paltrow, PhD. Yeah, no, she has a medical company, but she herself has no medical. It's always important to check that. Some of those actors and actresses are wicked smart, wicked smart. Um, who's the one model with a PhD? There's one of the like super famous models. Christy Brinkley, education. There's one of these like super famous models that had a PhD in astrophysics or something. Like just okay. So psilocybin is what that they're examining. Okay, so they've isolated a component from the mushrooms. Okay, it has received a breakthrough therapy analysis, so psilocybin. It's because of this progress that we have to seriously think about what we're doing here. So the opioid crisis is going to be fixed, I think. I think we're going to see the opioid crisis fixed by Acer's opioid replacement, the Dasuvia. Um, I think that's going to be a huge deal. I think that's going to fix a large part of that opioid crisis, especially when we're talking about PTSD. Um, they would have to nail the dosage on psilocybin so accurately, and I just don't know that that's how that works because you. I'm thinking of my experience with psychedelics here, guys. I'm not unfamiliar with them, um, and LSD is a crapshoot. It hits different people so differently, and same thing uh, with mushrooms is it hits people so differently. And so even if you're applying the correct dosage, it has to be the correct dosage for each person. So you have to take into account familiarity with it. You have to take into account body mass. Like it's a different level of prescription. It's not like just take 20 milligrams of this and you'll be fine. Um, yeah, recreationally they're not, but I'm still saying that has to come into account when you're offering the prescription. So I'm might be okay. So I mean, you gave me the okay total of 3,600 papers were identified. 43 papers were screened for eligibility. 32 were excluded. So of 3,600 papers, 11. Yeah, O'Leary. I like O'Leary as a guy. I do. But I don't. Do I trust O'Leary's acquisitions in the same way that I would trust Buffett getting into it? Probably not. Um, okay, so this is talking about using LSD to treat alcoholism. They only had 11 studies out of 3,600 that were fine. 5 trials were judged to have a high risk of bias, so they're out. All trials were judged to have a low or unclear risk of bias, so all of them. There's not one trial out of 3,600 that looks competent. 2 trials were judged to have a high risk of bias. 4 studies had substantial rates of missing participants at follow up. So people didn't come back. They took their LSD and went with it. 3 trials were judged to have a high risk of bias because of selective outcome reporting. So they changed their data. Um, so either they didn't complete the treatment, they walked away with the LSD and never came back, or they fudged their numbers. The last 4 trials were judged to have a high risk of other sources of bias, and one of them due to baseline imbalance. Other trial due to treatment time, and the rest of them due to a shorter time of hospitalization for the LSD treatment group and not the control group. 2 last trials presented unclear risk of bias due to uneven concurrent use of pharmacological treatments during study between participants. So there's not one good isolated study out of 3,600 studies on LSD. So for me, that I don't need to dig any deeper on that until I start seeing something of note and repute on that. It's not worth it. Let's. This one has me interested though because you've got John Hopkins actually doing this, and John Hopkins is no joke. So if John Hopkins is taking a look at it, there's something to consider at the very least. I mean, I think there are better plays. And I mean, even this article is all over the place. It's talking about shrooms, so it's talking about psilocybin, it's talking about LSD. It's talking about ayahuasca. Like it's kind of a scattershot. It's just all over the place on. Um, it's all over the place. I I think when you've got not sure plays, but much clearer plays that have very clearly defined testing, back testing, peer reviews. I think I'm more inclined to head that way. That you've got over, I mean, you're coming up on 4,000 different tests, and they can't do one right. I think they may be sampling their own meds, which is a shame. But there it is. Barrett Biotech. Yeah, exactly. Well, uh, Barrett Biotech. Does it have a ticker? This is the COVID darling of the day. It's not publicly traded. Okay. Let's head over here and get some more music. Okay. 5G will transform the landscape. Cloud gaming and cloud video. Interesting. Google Stadia becomes more possible with the expansion of 5G. Apple Glass. I'll Google that. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So Google Stadia failed because it was just too soon. They're innovators. I think that the next gen, though, Gen 6 is a cloud-based option if we get the 5G expansion. I think it is. First quarter of 2021. Yep. I think this is big enough to give Apple some pump for sure. Yeah. There it is there. Is Apple going to carry our markets for us today? That'd be nice of them. Are they the reason why communications is up? Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for people that play Apple. So there's no camera on it, which was the big reason why Google faced so much flack. It's kind of huge. This is like rapid adoption of AR. The thing is like current practical application of AR is not that huge. Like, what are you gonna do with it? Play Pokemon Go for $500? You're gonna need more than that, right? I mean, I see the potential if they're just gonna allow you the ability to watch Netflix on AR. I think that's a huge deal. Okay, the feed is starting to distract me here, so let's get out of that. The waiter's got 5 more news, just promo codes and stuff, nothing big. Orphan designation. Okay, so we got some orphan designation stuff coming in. Orphan designations are big news in the biopharma world here. So let's take a look at this stuff. That's a nothing news. They're creating a neonatal drug, but they're not going to put in. They're not going to test on pregnant women. That's a failure to launch there. Is somebody selling a report? Yeah. EIGR. Already up 1.8% today. Had a big rise yet through May here. Okay, so what happened? Priority review of Zokinvy for treatment for progeria and proteroid laminopathy. Okay, 12 years of clinical trials to get to this. Okay, so progeria only has 300 people globally that have this thing? What is the price point they're looking to set on this? Stops children from dying. This is huge. I love this. So the 400 people that have it are just kids. Not at all, man. Thanks for swinging through, Mr. McJ. Appreciate it. So Iger's on the list. Financial results. It's a European test. Pfizer gets a pump on its gene therapy. If you guys have stocks you want me to take a look at, just feel free to shut them out. All we're doing is research and due diligence here. Just until 7 o'clock. Getting ready for the market to open, create a watch list, have our positions in place. All right. If you guys are good, just chilling. I'll just keep studying what I'm interested in here. Okay, so let's head over here. Let's look at AQST. Okay, so let's take a look. AQST, Aquestive Therapeutics. Okay, go to the month to date. What's this? $4 they were at? $4 to $6. That's a decent growth across. So let's see what AQST has been up to. Absolutely, Claudini, I can do that. Okay, so AQST. Let's check the news. Tools moved up. First quarter results. Okay. It's got a buy rating, price target of $23. This is financials, inside ownership. I don't care about that. Okay, so it's got a buy rating. $23 is the mark, so it's really, really undervalued right now. If you believe that analyst's assessment, let's look at their first quarter results. AQST 108, epinephrine by June. Libervant, diazepam. Reaffirmed their guidance, so they didn't pull their guidance, which is huge. $8.8 million in the first quarter compared to $12.6 million previous year. It's a big loss in Q1 for a company this size. So they sold less, they spent more. $35 to $45 million sales. They've got an eroding patent. I can definitely take a look at ALDX next. This company's bleeding out and they need the approval in June, but there's no clarity as to why that is a sure thing. The drugs that they currently have are not showing well. I don't like the financials on AQST, so while it's lurking at that around that $6 mark and the 23 price target is set, I think that is a extremely high analyst rating on this thing. I think it's much more likely to be around the $10 range, and that's if they get approval on their IND. There's no assurance that that will happen. But even at that, you're playing that into the end of June. You've got a whole month of potential plays that you could take first. So I think there are better plays than AQST out there. Let's check the biopharma calendar, though, to see when exactly they're expecting that. '21st, so tomorrow. So yeah, if you were to take a play in this, you would take it today, because tomorrow we know one way or the other. So if you're, I'll pop it into the chart for today because that PDUFA date is tomorrow. This may be a potential day play. But be aware that as far as that, like 23, we're going to 23, boys. I don't see it. Not until they've got something else happening. I mean, Parkinson's is no joke, though. So, I mean, yeah. I'm not saying don't go near it. I'm just saying take a look and do some deeper dives on it. It really all comes down to, do you think that they get that approval from the FDA? Holy cow, this thing is moving already. 49.48. Aldera Therapeutics. Upgraded to a strong buy. Oh, I think the milk is in on this one, and I think it's gonna flow. They had a podcast, they had a conference call. They have a conference call this morning at 8 a.m. and that's why people are loading up ahead of time, is they want to see what's on this conference call. They think it's going to be quite positive. So what is it that they're... Yeah, I really like it. It's got some great analysts. I want to see what the drugs are, though, that they're working on. Everybody's just talking about their financials, and nobody's talking about what it is that they're doing here. So, press releases, conference call, first quarter results, new clinical programs, top line phase 1 clinical development plan. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at their pipeline. Ooh, okay. They've got 2 phase 3 trials that are coming to completion. That's huge. And this one's fast tracked. Holy cow! So they have 3 phase 3 designations coming down the pipeline. This is a short of one of these getting an orphan drug designation. This thing is an absolute beast, Victoria. Absolute beast. This is... That's huge. Absolutely massive. Yeah, so guys, when I say that I like a stock, I will never tell you get into it, don't get into it. I just what I'm seeing here, right? The financials look good, the news looks good, the pipeline looks good, everything that you would hope to look good in a bio stock looks good here. Now, it's still up to you to make the decision to pull the trigger on this play. A lot could go wrong. You never know what's going to happen in phase 3 trials, yada yada yada. Due diligence on all of that. But this is a very exciting play that I would not have come across. Thank you for dropping it for me to look at. That's fantastic. Okay. Yikes. That's. I mean, this is just gonna blow this up, though. I think 570 already. Yeah, man, oh man, if you already got a position in this, that's great. What the heck is going on with this tetraphase deal? What's the stick? What stick? Oh, what's the stock? I'm glad you didn't. I am glad you didn't. Q2 2020, we're expecting for this to close. There's 3 other candidates now that they're considering. Okay, top news. Markets, top news. Ooh. Okay, so for those of you not on Twitch, Levi's asking about AMD versus Intel. The big difference between these two guys is Int AMD. AMD's a new player in the field, okay? Yes, they build semiconductors. What you're considering, though, is you're considering consumer versus commercial here. AMD is really dialed in on the consumer side of things. So, laptops, gaming PCs, you and me, we would buy products with AMD. Intel's biggest beast has nothing to do with Intel chips being in domestic computers. Intel's big thing its its corporate centers. How Intel is used in uh, Intel chips server farms. So Intel is built into the corporate side. Data centers like crazy, server farms and data centers. That's where they make their money. Now, this is AMD claiming that they are in here. I want to take a look at AMD's last earnings to see what their guidance was. down 16%. Okay, new chips, new things, Google Cloud and AMD, virtual machines. They announce these chips, but I don't know that we see the sales on it. Yeah, so my take on this is I don't see large corporations of data centers or cloud servers shifting the chips over because they would have to bring those servers down to do that. I don't see them doing this. So it would have to be new servers being built, and I just don't know that AMD is far enough ahead on that. So if you're talking, are we playing this into Q4, Q1? I like AMD better just because we have the second gen consoles coming out. If we're playing this on the 5 and 10 year, I like Intel better. Upgraded to strong buy. What happens if you search this? Tools, recent, past 24 hours. Kind of want to just put this into an alert. So guys, this is where I get my alerts from. The tool I use is this icon up here. It's called RSS Feed Reader or Feeder. What I can do is I can come into Google on searches that I think are going to be relevant and providing me some news and insights. Build out this custom alert. Build it as an RSS. Grab it. Subscribe to it. And now up here, when I click on this, it's actually going to show me that down at the bottom here. I can get rid of Baidu. That doesn't need to be there anymore. Edit feed. Downgraded, upgraded to strong buy. Capcom. All good, man. Okay. Just trying to clear this so that I can actually see the edit feed. Something went wrong. Okay, now I can see everything that I want to see right here. That's fine. DMPI. 65 to 75. Okay. So Delmar. High estimate of 4, low estimate of 2. Delmar Pharmaceuticals. Okay, so this is presenting May 29th through the 31st. And again in June. Yeah, I think I want this one to decline a little bit, but ALDX. I like it at the $3 mark for sure. Be Free With Me by... So all of the music that I listen to here, guys, is from Epidemic Sound. This is a tool that you can use for streaming that by having a membership with these guys, you can play music throughout your stream that you know isn't going to be copyrighted, so it's not going to affect the monetization or ad runs on your videos, which is fantastic. So I'm a huge fan of them. The music's all right. I don't mind. You're not going to get the latest top hits, but you're going to get music that you can listen to at least and have on in the background while you're doing your stuff. What does Capcom have coming out that has it receiving a strong buy rating? Hey Dice, how's it going, man? Resident Evil 3 games. New. Capcom Pro Tour, that's a nothing. Yeah, I mean, Pink Sheet. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's lots of people working from home these days. It's nice to. I used to be a bit of an oddity, having uh, getting to be that work from home guy, but now that it's everybody, it's kind of interesting. All right, let's head into social media, see what news we can get from here. What's the ticker for Lowe's? LOW. That's low. Break the trend. NNDM. All right, let's take a look. NNDM. Nano Dimension ads. Okay. 80 cent. Nope. 340. Holy cow. This beast just flew yesterday. News. Breakthrough in 3D printing. Okay. It's already up to 530. Holy cow, this thing flew! This thing still has room to run. Apparently, we're looking at 750. But there's only a single analyst on it because it's small. I don't know the sector. I don't personally like it, but it's definitely a mover. It's big news for sure for it. I mean, there's still 25% upside to that if you think it's going to that $7 mark. So, I mean, that is there. It is a play for sure. No word on MBRX halt. It looks like BMY is up pre-market. Merck is up pre-market. Pfizer is up pre-market. Looking like it's going to be a good day for bio here, boys. Uh, MFA is looking like it wants to go up. Oh, man. What caused a dip yesterday? Trump declaring that he was going to be keeping the lockdown globally on travel. He wasn't going to let the Canadians come in, the Mexicans come in, the Europeans come in, the Chinese come in, nobody, which is terrible for U.S. travel tourism. And then pair that with news that mRNA, like I've been saying for months, is a scam artist. Their data is not conclusive. They've fudged their numbers. That's all coming to light right now. And so the lead candidate that everybody had been holding their breath and hoping for, which they shouldn't have been, is a liar, a fraud, and is in some serious hot water. Their lead candidate heading into a phase 2 trial is more than likely going to underperform and not be a viable candidate moving forward. So mRNA, she's looking put ready, boys. She's looking put ready. Uh, I don't know that we see it accelerate up again. Um, And I mean, people thought I was nuts when I said that it was no good. But reading the medicals on it, reading how it's going to perform, reading how they did the testing, it just wasn't conclusive. And now a lot of watchdogs are looking at this, going, "What the hell? This is not how we do these. This is not. You don't get to have these selective snippets of data and not represent the entire report. That's fraudulent. You can't do that." So I think mRNA continues to see a decline. That eliminates any confidence people had in that. The $3 trillion bill, the Senate is not going to approve, so that's there. Trump is not opening up the market to the global market anyway. It'll be you are U.S. bound and U.S. you will stay. I guess a little bit of positive news that we got was flow, but it wasn't enough. So he's going to start making the drugs domestically here in the U.S., which is good. It's good for pricing. It's good for shipment. It's good for actually getting access to the drug, even when they discover it. We had some news around Belastin yesterday, which was good. MBRX still has 100% performance rating. We're just waiting for the SEC to clear them. Now, the SEC does not in any way affect the day-to-day operations of MBRX. So MBRX is still moving forward, working with the FDA on their thing. So what could be crazy is MBRX gets unhalted, then they come out with the announcement of their progress on the FDA, and we see the thing move real fast. So I mean, these plays are all there, guys. It's literally just watch the market, know what's going on, shift as quick as you can. If we go into a resurgence, see a second wave, I think Waiter's going to be another one that's going to go. So I'm watching that. Um, Speaking of which, I should set an alert because if this pops to once 270, if Waiter pops to 270, I'm going to start taking a serious look at it again. ACRX Q4, man. Q4. Just got to hold. Nidal, my strategy is I play long equity 2 or 3 quarters out, so 6 to 8 is what I play on. I'm not a day trader. I'm not an options trader. I'm somebody that does due diligence into a company, and I'm looking for bigger gains because I'm not taking small gains day after day, right? So most of the positions that I'm in, I am looking for anywhere from a 75 to 100% gain, which for me, if I can take 4 or 5 of those plays over a year, it is fairly good, right? I think most people would agree that if you could take a portfolio and see it have a 20 to 40% gain because you're taking 100% wins on every position you take, I think that would be good. And so that's kind of where I'm at is I have a diversified portfolio across probably 8 different bio stocks in different holdings. For me, I just like watching biopharmaceutical. It operates almost entirely on news. It has very, very, very little to do with its financial performance as a stock. It has everything to do with the news, pipeline, and that for me is a lot easier to track using social media and online resources, which is my expertise. I work in digital marketing, I work in social media, so that's how I track. That's how I do what I do, and that's what we spend the time doing in the mornings here, 4:30 a.m. till 7 Eastern Standard Time. I go through it all: press releases, medical reports, FDA reports. What are you trading it all? Day trader, options or equity? Do you trade a specific sector, or do you like to kind of just keep your options open and trade what you see? All right, let's do some quick math on this, because this could make cars a potential play. Bitcoin is a long, winding conversation. It's one that I had with Martini a little while back. What you have to see in order for a more rapid adoption of Bitcoin and increase in its value is the general population moving towards it. I don't see that immediately, but if we see the dollar start to collapse, I think that Bitcoin has a huge potential. It's secure, outside of government reach. It provides a lot of incentives. I think you see Bitcoin value go up. If the dollar declines. But that's a big if. You're playing against the US economy if you're playing Bitcoin. And I'm not sure that you necessarily want to do that. Okay, so currently there are 330 million Americans. 64% of them will not travel. So it's 36% that will. Okay, of that 36%, 75 will do so by car, taking a short road trip close to home. They're projecting 33 million. Oh, 330 million. So they're projecting 109 million people are going to buy cars. What is cars' market share? Cars.com market share. What do I think of Boeing? I think Boeing has picked up some new Navy contracts. I think they're still in trouble with their 737 MAX. I think they're backed by Saudi Arabia money, so there's huge potential there. Yeah, Boeing would be a long hold if you're going to get into it. You do risk them coming under the microscope again on not just their 737 MAX, but the 777 as well. And I think the 787 was another one that they were looking at as far as production. So we'll see. Space Force is tied to them. We got some announcements about Space Force. The Navy is investing in Boeing. Saudi Arabia is investing in Boeing. So it's got a large backing for sure. So they've got 46% of the market share. So they're projecting 50 million sales over this weekend. I mean, 50 million car sales over a weekend is what they're projecting. That's not chump change. That's decent money. Okay, what else we got? Who financed? Johnson & Johnson. Yeah, Zach's ratings are definitely relevant to me, especially the ones that are holding a 1. Zach's 1 ratings are extremely rare. So we saw another Zach's 1 rating. NBRX does have one. Another one that we're looking at that has a number 1 is ALDX, I think, got upgraded to a 1. So anything that's got a 1 tends to perform pretty well. Whether it goes to the levels that Zach's dreams of, hard to say. But for them to get that 1 rating is kind of a big deal. How about One Life Healthcare? One Life Healthcare. Decent growth lately. Monday it took part in a conference, so that explains the recent rise. So where's Monday? Monday was the 18th? 18th. So this is over the weekend. So they were expecting them to speak on Monday. They spoke on Monday, and whatever they said kept them going. Those ratings based on financials only. No, Zach goes into the financials, but also goes into some FA as well on how the business is being run. It goes into stock performance. It goes into there's all kinds of different metrics. It's proprietary. It doesn't say exactly what they're looking at, but there's a wide degree of different things that could happen with it, which is why you can get smaller companies like MBRX and ALDX to get a number one ranking, while guys like Merck only have a 2 or a 3. So this is, guys, when I'm looking at an earnings report, what I do is I scan through this first crap, because this is just them pumping themselves, and I don't really have a use for that. Q&A is the big one. Okay, so I'm not seeing a ton of strength on One Life, to be honest. When they were asked hard questions, they kind of evaded them. When asked why their guidance says that they expect to blow it up this quarter, their answer was, well, we're just really positive. We're positive thinkers. We're a good group of guys that's positive. And it's like, well, question wasn't really about your outlook and your positive sentiment towards the stock. You get paid to do that. You're the CEO. What they wanted was numbers and data that supported that, and there wasn't any. So, yeah, that one's a pass for me. I don't see anything in it that I'm particularly excited about. Okay, that's cleared. Yikes. That's crazy. That's a massive cyclone. Look at that. This is the whole country of India, and that's the size of that cyclone? Yikes. If you're new to day trading, what I suggest you do is take it slow and honestly only look at taking plays one stock at a time so you can learn, okay? Whether you do that with paper account, whether you do that with a cash account, what I highly recommend is that you take a look at a stock and say, okay, I'm only going to buy one share of this stock. I'm only going to buy one share of this stock, where it currently is. Do I see it going up or down enough to make it worth my while? So let's use Datadog as an example, okay? So Datadog. The dog. Oop. So let's take a look at Datadog here. D-Dog. Okay, so when we're looking at Datadog, guys, what I'm saying you should do as a new day trader is take a look at the stock, and I'm not saying you're taking position, but look at it and go, if you could only buy one share of Datadog, a single share, you got $70. Is it worth it to put that $70 on there because you know that the movement on Datadog is going to go up or down enough to make that worth your while? Now, take into note commissions if you're on a platform that takes commissions. For me, I know that I've got a $7 commission. So I need to see my single share move $7 on this for it to be worthwhile, which would be a 10% movement one way or the other. Given their recent rise to glory here, I don't see a $10 to the upside. I don't play short side. I would get out. Do you see what I'm doing there? I've created rules and processes so that when I look at a stock, I'm able to do a quick assessment. And if the quick assessment shows potential, then I deep dive and get some more data and some more information on it. So, again, the example that we did earlier this morning with ALDX is a prime example of this, where I took a look at it. I went, okay, so ALDX, if I bought a single share of ALDX at $3.84, okay, take my $7 commission, I need this to go to $10 if I wanted it to actually just break even. So, do I see a potential growth of uh, up to $10 on this? Well, let's see. It's got positive news, 3 drugs in the phase 3 pipeline. Its highest without that was $8. I see this stock is potentially going from 384 to 15, $20. And that's on a single drug getting approved. There are more coming down the pipeline. So, yeah. You just have to play it out, that single stock. Is that movement up or down worth it for you? If you're on a zero commission trade platform, that's a lot easier for you to do. Um, yeah, if you're on a $0 commission, that's a lot easier for you to do because you're not paying out any commissions. But um, it may influence your decision making one way or the other. The other tip that I have for you is really dial in on single market. So keep a trade journal. I always have a trade journal handy. Track my trades. Let people know, or let myself know, okay, well, this is why I'm getting into something, this is why I'm buying it, this is where I'm planning to sell it. Track that. Track your track record. What you're going to find is a single industry tends to produce most of your wins. For me, that's biopharmaceutical, which is why I've doubled down on biopharmaceutical. I see that I have consistent wins in that sector. I seem to understand how that sector moves, and so I focus in on that. Doesn't mean that I don't have some positions in some other things. Yes, I've got positions in GameStop. Yes, I've got positions in MFA. But those are long holds. Those have different due diligence. And for the most part, my portfolio is weighted heavily into the bio sector. So if I go into my holdings here, healthcare is 80% of my portfolio. Um, Technically, if you count CBBY, yeah, it would be 80% of my portfolio right now is in biopharmaceutical, which is a decent chunk, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I would recommend for somebody who's new to day trading is keep track of what you're trading and why. Use the one stock method, and then on top of that, you want to really dial in on a specific industry. Where am I seeing my wins? What industry do I understand well, and focus there. Um, from there, it's just slow growth. Keep taking your wins. Make sure that you've got good stop losses, so you know that you're getting out at a very specific percentage. um, you're getting in with the hopes of making a specific percentage, and then you exit on that target. I think that's a big one that a lot of day traders, especially new day traders, get burned on, is that they let the greed take them. So they're accurate. Yes, I got the pick. It's the right movement. It's going the way that I want. I'm up 25%. Okay, I'm just gonna hold it. I'm gonna squeeze for that 30. Oh, it hit 30. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze again for let's go for 40 this time. Oh man, look, it's up at 40. And you just hold and you hold and you hold, and you told yourself you're going to get it at 25, and then it hits 40, and all of a sudden it retraces and it's all gone, and you're at a loss, and you're sat there holding a bag. So it's always better to walk away with a 25% gain than potentially lose it all. If you can consistently take those 10, 15, 20, 25% gains over and over and over again, right? Um, so, I mean, let's just pull up a sheet here. Sheets, blank sheet. So you got 10 trades, right? They're all for $100. On those 10 trades, okay? let's say okay, so let's say you set your threshold at 15%. Okay. So let's say 3 of the 10 trades you get out at exactly your 15%, it's there. Another one moves so fast on the upside you couldn't help but get out, so you got out at 25%, right? You got another one where you uh it wasn't quite going where you want, and you saw it to you got two, let's say, that didn't quite get to where you wanted, but you exited because you saw it reversing. You've got two that were kind of break even and you didn't get anything on, and then you had two that you took a loss at. Okay, and your stop loss was 10%. Okay, okay, okay. So taking this, you would have turned $1,000. You would have made 70 on 1,000. Okay, which doesn't seem like a ton. Now, let's say you go the other way, okay? Let's copy this whole chart. Let's say you've got one that you hold and it's your first one, it's your pick, you rock it, you blow it up, and this thing goes up 100%. Okay? Then you got another one, you're like, oh, I'm still on a roll. I'm gonna stick with this bad boy. I'm gonna get in on it at I got out at 50% gain. Okay, great. Oh, I had two here that were 25%. Great. Oh no, well, I had two that I had to get out of because they didn't move the way they wanted to. And then I had two that, I had a stop loss and I was able to get out. Okay. And then I had two that I got completely burned. The whole thing turned to dog crap because I held it and we're gone. Oh, -1. Okay, so this is the difference, guys, between having a solid track record that produces small gains over time and one that you're trying to play it big, trying to play it small. So you'll see here that these are minor losses. These are not big deals. But these ones where you get burned in a big way, heck, let's not make it the entire thing. Let's just make it 0.5. Okay, so you lose half of an investment in one, you lose your entire investment in another. This is what a risky portfolio looks like, guys, where it's this evenly weighted. Well, I win about as much as I lose. Okay, well, at the end of the day, you are better off taking small wins consistently than otherwise, right? So with this one here, you're seeing not quite a 10%, right? 7% gain. This one here, you're seeing a 3% gain. That's the difference between the two of these. Now, somebody's saying, okay, well, $70, who cares, right? Okay, well, let's say that this is a week and you've got 52 weeks in the year, right? Maybe not for the sake of this argument. Let's do months. Let's say this is in a month, okay? You take 10 trades in a month. Okay, 12 months in the year. So let's go January through December. So we started with 1,000 in January, right? And then this is equal to this times 1.7. Okay, and let's carry that down. That's not bad. After a year, you will have doubled your money, right? So this is the value of compounding. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Taking safe wins, safe gains. None of these are massive wins. Even the 25% is not a massive win, especially as a new day trader. But if you can take these consistent gains, these 15% gains over and over and over, and know that you're taking those positions, and then you're taking stop losses effectively, either at 0 or 10%, what you're going to see is consistent gains over time. Those consistent gains build up, and your portfolio grows accordingly. What happens more often than not with something like this is if we just copy this whole thing, put it over here, sadly, what happens here is instead of these controlled portions, what we see happening with a lot of day traders, well, this could still be true. We just make this into 0.3 instead here. So that's the difference. It's like $800 difference between the two of these here, right? Now, the scary thing though is this is if somebody who is a new day trader is only putting 10% of their portfolio into a single position. We often don't see that happening. We often hear things like all in ACB, which is a terrible thing to do. And the reason why it's a terrible thing to do is if you put your $1,000 in every time on a stock, right? So we can do another one here. Okay, so I have $1,000 total. I'm going to do $1,000 total across all of it. Um, and every play you're going to put it in. Well, I mean, I don't really need to do the math because, oh, look, I won. Oh, I'm out. Oh, I won again. I won again. Oh, I didn't really take anything. Oh, I took a small loss on that. I took a small loss on that. Oh, I lost half of it. Oh, I lost it all. And you see this. I mean, this is a model that we see over and over and over and over again. If you head over to Wall Street Bets, you'll see people losing their entire portfolios because of this. Because of this mentality of I'm just going to squeeze a little more. I don't have clear entry. I don't have clear exit. What you see is people blowing up their entire portfolio, and you're left holding a bag of dog crap, and that's no good. Even if you are doing solid diversification of your portfolio, where you're not putting everything into a single play, the big risk here is this section here, where you clearly have not defined your stop loss because you were willing to take the risk on the upside, you're willing to take the risk on the downside as well, and as a result, even though these losses are less, you're not going to break even. You still came up ahead. You didn't come up ahead nearly as much had you just taken smaller gains across the board. So really dial in on this, guys. Do the math, do the numbers, because this gets really crazy. So if this is what we're looking at, right? It's 2104. So let's say that that's this year. Okay, so we'll say it's 2021, 2020, 2021 to 2031. Let's put in this number here. If you weren't to add any more money to this account and you were to continue to perform at this level from 2020 to, let's make it a decade, just a solid decade, 2031, what you would have here is we're saying that you're gonna see 7% growth, right? So times 1.07 equals to this times 1.07. Okay, carry that down. Okay, so in a decade, you would have gone from, no, it's more than that because we're saying that you're compounding by 7 monthly, right? So what we'd be looking at is, oh, now I gotta actually look up the formula for compound interest here. Um, so this would be the 1 year, and then it would be Control C, Control V. No, no. Make that into 2104 equal to this times 1.07. Carry this down. So the next year you would be at 4428, 60. The following year it would be 9300. Following year 19,000. Following year 41K. Following year 86 grand. 182,951. 385,084. So this is not on 100% win rate, guys. This was on let's see, it would be, you took wins on 6 out of your 10 plays. And not even massive wins. The biggest win we took was a single 25% win. The rest of them were 15%, a couple of tens. But this is 6 out of 10. So if you're hitting 6 out of 10, this is what's possible. And I think if you do your due diligence and you're taking the time, you dial in on a sector you're good at, I don't think that that's too much to ask. I think that's actually quite reasonable. So now we've broken into the million mark, and there's the 3 million. There's a decade. This assumes that you're not putting any more money in. You're able to maintain the 6 out of 10 track record, right? So 6 out of 10 picks that you make are right. You exit at no more than a 10% loss on two of your losses. You try to get out as soon as you can on at least two. I think that this is a reasonable portrayal of a safe portfolio, the one that drives people nuts and people think is boring. Um, but that's a huge. If I told you you put in $1,000 today, and you trade safe, you trade like this. So only on good news, only on clear due diligence. You do your studies. You take 10 positions in a month, and this is what you come up with. This is what you come up with on the year, your first year, and then from your first year, and you continue on at that level. You're looking to break the million mark 9 years in. You are far less likely to blow up your account and be left with nothing in your hands when you do it this way. I mean, it's just um, know your exits, know your entries. Yeah, yeah. So like this would be like treating your stock portfolio like your retirement portfolio for sure. Um, and this is just on the basis of like if you didn't put anything else in. So this is assuming that you've got this portfolio and it's building and it's growing, and you still have a job outside the market, right? Like you still have a job, you're still living your life, you're still doing other things out there, right? This is just an initial investment of $1,000. At no other point did we add any other money into this, right? So this is just on the assumption that you only have $1,000 in there from the get go. At no other point do we add money into here. This is just on this portfolio that this happens. Hopefully that helps clarify my recommendations for a day trader. I think that the numbers speak pretty clearly. 7% monthly gain is not that difficult, I don't think. If you're having a hard time hitting 7% gains, really ask yourself which side of the coin you're on here. Are you holding long on both sides for wins and losses? Are you exiting positions when you should? Are you willing to take a 10% loss knowing that you're going to have a couple more 15% wins? It's not easy to do, guys. It really, really is not easy to do. If you guys have a one more stock, I think I've got 5 minutes here. If you have one more stock you'd like me to take a look at, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, I think I'm gonna wrap it up and head out for coffee time here with my lovely wife. Um, so if you look at the Fed, okay, so let's say the SPY. Um, on the SPY, if you wanted to see a 7% gain in the month of March. So far we've gone from 1 month. So we opened at 287. We're now at 291. Uh, if you had bought at the low, so the low is 272 for the month, and bought back up to 294. Yep, you'd have it. You'd have your 7% gain. And again, here to here you wouldn't have a 7% gain. Here to here you wouldn't have a seven, or here to here you would have a 7% gain. So yeah, I mean the SPY so far this month could have been two of your 7% plays, but I mean you're hoping to actually take more than that, right? Rite Aid is still a long term play as far as Luckin Coffee goes. Guys, any company that is solely based in China right now, they are coming down hard on regulation. I really don't like Luckin Coffee. They committed fraud. I don't see any reason why they won't recommit. They got a tap on the hand. Somebody lost their job, but he left with millions in bonuses. Honestly, it was a big joke. I would stay away from it. It's super risky. If you like luck in coffee, take a look at Starbucks instead. Like that's just the best that I can say. It is a super scary stock. Guaranteed, if they have any more financial issues, they will just be delisted. I would really stay away. I would not trade your money. I'm definitely not going to trade my money in it. I would highly recommend that unless you know something golden, like they're, yeah, I just, you have two sell positions? Okay. Um, yeah, if you're playing it to the downside, the risk is again delisting. I think in the interim, those sell positions are actually going to be rough because people are going to buy into it, going, well, now it's unhalted, we can trade it again. I think that you're going to see it start to move up. So sell position right now may not be advantageous, but 2 quarters from now, a year from now, when fraud drops in, the stock could just dissolve. It could not be there anymore. I would just stay out of it. I think there are so many better plays out there that don't have to deal with Chinese interference and Chinese manipulation. Um, yeah, Rite Aid I like long term. They're doing expansion. They're doing more testing drive through. They set themselves up in a good position. And this will be the last one, guys. Levango Health. Livongo Health. LVGO, $60 stock. LVGO. So I wouldn't even be playing this on equity. This would be an options play for me. It's already had its gain. It's had its gains. Um, from here to here, it's had its gains. It is a Zach's number one. I don't know that it moves much further past where it is on Lavingo. But if they have, do they have dividends? Let's see. No dividend. Hmm. I think the run is done on Lavingo. Lavongo. Yeah, I think the run is done on this. That is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for swinging through. You guys over on Twitter and YouTube, Twitch. Thank you so much. I am out of here. Have an amazing day, guys. Stay safe in the market. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 4:30 a.m. Eastern to 7 every day, Monday through Friday. I'll see you then.